I'm a loser and I'm just a quitter.
I am obsessed with Diplo.
I've written with him only one time.
That song has blown up on TikTok.
We had a couple of freaking crazy spiritual moments. You're going on a date and you're like, fuck yeah, this is it. When I'm fully connected, I feel like I get these ideas that I don't even feel like came from me.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Millennial Girls. I can't believe we are on episode 10, and it's brought to you by Formula Z Cosmetics. I'm Racquel, normally the blonde one. Now with the pink hair, you know, I was bored during quarantine, and...
And I'm Natasha, you guys. I'm so glad to be back, and I can't believe it's episode 10 already. It
feels like it's episode 10, but it also feels like it's episode 100.
Right.
So
the eternity.
It's one of those things, but we are so appreciative of every single one of you, listening and following us and commenting and sharing, and it's just so much fun. And we have another amazing girl power girl that we have on this episode. Her name is Jenna Andrews. She is so dope, guys. Like, I can't wait for you to hear her speak. And we're not even going to be doing like an intro like normal because she is so like fascinating and has so much to talk about. So we're going to bring her in right now. Jenna, of course, via Zoom because, still quarantine, social distancing, and she's in New Jersey. So what's up, girl?
Hi, how are you?
I am good. We are good. And you're in New Jersey, right?
I am. I've actually been in New Jersey this whole quarantine, which is crazy. I'm just like, because normally I live between LA and New York. So now it's like, it's funny. It was weird in the beginning because I'm not used to the suburb lifestyle. But now I'm getting used to it. Then it's nice to have the quiet.
Yeah, no, I know. It's so funny because... Natasha lives in the middle of Miami, and I still live kind of in the suburbs as well, but I'm always in Miami with Natasha, so being in the suburbs for so long too, like, I'm like, oh, like, I can sleep, like, there's time to do things. Obviously, we made this podcast, so it's really fun, it's cool, but okay, so this episode... we had kind of discussed, me and Natasha discussed like what we wanted this episode to be about. And we kind of came up with the idea, your vibe attracts your tribe, right? Because you are an amazing songwriter, singer, but you're also such a major mentor to so many artists. Now, how did that come about? Because me and Natasha were talking to, I have mentors who have kind of guided me, and I'm now being asked, because I've been in the industry for 5 years, to kind of help mentor too. And I was telling Natasha, I was like, that's so weird to me because I still feel like I have so much to learn, but I don't know. It's just, did you always know like this was you wanted to be kind of like the guiding light for artists?
Honestly, no, but I feel like such is life, right? Like,
yeah,
it's funny. So I started out as an artist. I was signed to Island Def Jam for like 7 years, and which was a long time. And then when I left the label, for me, I guess it was like, I love touring, but I think for me, I love to be in the studio and I love to create. So I think that for me, that was when I was like, okay, I'm going to take listen, when you're an artist, you're always an artist. So it's not really like, but it was more like, let me focus on writing potentially for other people. So that's how it started. And I worked with this group from Canada, because I'm actually Canadian, called Magic Jordan. They're signed to Drake. And that was my first experience really like getting involved on more than just writing. It was like writing, vocal production, just like overall sort of developing a project. And that was really fun for me. And I was like, wow, I really love this. So I think I started doing it without even knowing I was doing it, if that makes sense. And,
totally.
And then, I met Len and Stella, who like, so this, I'm trying to like keep track of times, but I met her probably now like 6 years ago, almost 7.
Oh wow, so baby Lennon, like while ago.
Yes. And so she was 14, and this was right after probably around like a year and a half after I did the Magic Jordan thing, and I just fell in love with her voice, and just we kept in touch for a couple years since when I met her. Was writing with her for her group that she had with her sister, Lennon and Maisie. Mm-hmm. And then, when she was 16, so it would have been like 4 years ago, that was when I was like, okay, let me actually develop an artist, find an artist. Like, will be my challenge. And that's how it all sort of started. So it was kind of like the universe was poking my shoulder and being like, this is your thing. Like, you know, that's what I was kind of trying to say before, is that as much as you may not like know that something's your path, you discover that something is when things just attract themselves to you, if that makes sense.
Your vibe attracts your tribe, literally.
I love that. That's perfect.
We need to make merch or something with that on it for sure.
Oh my God, girl, are you kidding me? I'd wear it everywhere.
I mean, there we go. You're it. It's happening.
Let's go. I'm starting to email people about it now.
Literally. See?
I'm telling you. No, but yeah, it's just one of those things, right? That's why I'm like, so I just listen to the universe, and I think that good or bad, it's just like everything happens for a reason. And I think you just have to listen. I've just learned to listen more over the years, where I'm like, you know, a lot of times I think when you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do, you try to ignore your gut. You know, you're like, no, this is not really what I plan to do, or this, you know, but for me, I started to be like, you know what, like, no, I'm just going to listen to what feels good in my actual gut. And that's what I started doing. And it just sort of all started happening, which has been amazing.
And that's one of my biggest questions for you, Jenna, too. Because, like, so you said that you started as an artist and then you kind of moved into, like, this, let's say, mentorship role, but, of course, you know, songwriting role. So
right.
You said intentionally you weren't that was not your initial intention. You kind of shifted into that. But I'm curious to know, like, maybe, like, what steps it took to get there, or, like, if you face any failure, like, what moments were making you realize, like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't do the artist thing. Maybe this is, like, more, you know, kind of like what you're meant to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's a good question. I think for me, it's like, you know, one big thing for me is I've always like struggled a lot with anxiety. And I think for the touring aspect, like I love performing, but I have so much anxiety that to me, it's like you can hide a little bit more if you're not always like in front of, like, there's so much pressure of being an artist. Having said that, it's like, you know, I still at some point want to do a project and that kind of thing. But I think in a perfect world, to be able to have that sort of like what Sia does, where it's like you can have a little bit of that, have, you know, life. And it just, I feel like that was one of, honestly, the main reasons. And I think that given the experience of being on a label and being so green and young and being signed before really knowing anything too, it's like made the anxiety worse, which is why I was like, okay, you know what, I want to create and be like focus on the art and not have to focus on constantly like mentally preparing, even though it still continues to be hard, you know what I mean? But like,
yeah, of course,
sort of anything, but like at the same time, like I feel like that was actually one of the biggest reasons, I think. And also, like, again, it just made me focus on the art, what I really love to do, and not having all these other things get in the way.
Right.
I feel you. Girl, I was like, I feel you about the anxiety. So okay. So what, 2 episodes, well, now it's a couple episodes ago, but I had never like publicly talked about how like my struggle with anxiety. And so I finally did on a couple episodes ago, and Natasha was like totally amazing about it. And we've had such good responses, and it's just the fact that I don't think people realize, like, people only see the pretty side of the industry, right? They don't see what goes,
exactly,
the hard work. Obviously, it's different from being like a radio personality or a TV host, different than being an artist, but there's still so much that goes into it, and people don't see that side of it. So it's so funny. There's always a consistent factor of everyone we've kind of had on that's like, my anxiety is it's very stressful being in the public eye, and obviously everyone is always so grateful to be in it and doing what they love and doing what they do, but it takes a toll on your mental health. That's why you always have to, and I feel like that's why I've, you know, found a lot of friends that have similar stories to me, and we really connect, and to really have just like a good group of people around you, because otherwise you will literally go mentally insane if you don't.
It's so true. It's so true. And like, in fact, I just started a show called The Green Room.
I was just gonna ask you about that. Okay, I was like, this has got to be how this all transpired. So tell me about Green Room Talks, please.
Yeah. So that's why I started. Honestly, I mean, I've been having this idea for a long time where I wanted to be able to bring sort of the songwriting room to the, like, just to, you know, the masses, I guess, and just have people be able to understand why songwriting can be so therapeutic. And I think that's another thing why I love songwriting too, is like, if you find the right creative partner, the right space, and the right, you know, that's where magic is really created, because you can actually feel comfortable to divulge things that you would in a therapy room. Sometimes it's more effective for me than actually going to real therapy. You know what I mean? So I feel like I had this idea of being like, okay, cool. Whatever people are obviously open to talk about, you know, I don't want to pressure anybody to talk about something they wouldn't want other, you know, people to see. But I do think it's interesting because I think, like you said, we can relate so much that I feel like it's good for people to realize they're not alone. Because I really, like, it doesn't matter if you're in the entertainment business, I still think that everybody on some
level.
So I think that, you know, it's good for people to see like, hey, these people I look up to, or these people that feel like they're just like, they can't do any wrong, are like struggling with this stuff, you know? And also I just think it gives people a glimpse on how these songs are written. There's just like many facets of why I think this is a cool thing. So I think that, yeah, I mean, listen, I think we decided to start it during COVID for the obvious reasons. It's like people are struggling with anxiety now more than ever, right? This is crazy. So I think this was obviously like, okay, this is a good time to start it. And then, you know, just coincidentally, May was Mental Health Month, and then green is the color for mental health, which I was like, oh, that's so cool. I actually didn't even think about that, because I was just thinking of it on the aspect that like the green room, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Get like the, you know. And so I think that we've done 2 episodes. We did one with Fallon. We did one with my other artist, Anna Clendenning, who signed to my publishing venture. And it was really cool because she struggles a lot with anxiety, and she's been very public about it. So I think, you know, people that have joined and listened, like, I feel like it's actually really helping people. I'm getting a ton of DMs, and like, I love that, you know? And I think that was the main reason why I wanted to be able to have an open conversation about it and have people feel comfortable to talk about it. And I think just to repeat myself, just in terms of like the art factor and being able to put stress into something positive is also really cool. You know what I mean? Because that's what
Of course.
You have like whether it's a breakup or anything, you could kind of be like, okay, let me reflect on this and put it in a song and make something feel good out of this situation. And I think that's also the point. So every episode is going to be geared towards something else. And like, actually, for instance, I'm doing an episode this Wednesday for everything that's been going on with, like, obviously, like, this whole thing with the protests, and like, it's just going to, yeah. So I think, you know, I just hope to spread positivity through it, honestly.
No, I mean, we definitely need positivity now more than ever. And I think it's really great because within the past, I'd say like 3 years, 2 years, everyone's been more open about their mental health. Like, I feel like before it was something no one talked about in sports and entertainment and anything like that. And now everyone's starting to really open up about it. And it makes everyone more like just relatable and not a carbon copy of one another. And, you know, we are real people too. We have feelings and emotions, because I worked in sports before this. I actually worked in hockey. And
oh my God.
Yeah. So I feel like everything I would always say, like, people would always be like, oh my God, how's meeting this person? Are they blah? I'm like, they're a person. They have a soul. They're just a person. They're not like, I don't know. I guess because we're in this industry too, we're just like, you know, you're a person. I'm a person.
Exactly.
Like, Britney Spears is a person. Yeah.
No, but that's actually the truth. I always like my reference. Well, listen, maybe I shouldn't say this for kids that are watching. No, I'm just kidding. But there's I was gonna say, I always use the example that it's like Santa Claus. You find out Santa Claus doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
She's like, no.
Just kidding.
But no, because I think for me it's like, or for anybody, it's like you grow up with a dream, right? And you're like, oh, I want to do this, and then you get into you actually get into it, it becomes your career, and you're like, wow, this isn't sugar-coated, as you said. So I think that you realize that people are all just people, no matter who the person is. It's like, you know, Obama's just a person, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I love that. I think that's so cool. And I've been talking to a lot of my friends through all this stuff going on, and I think that that's one of my main points is I'm like, I think that there's something to be said about power of thought, and that's why, like, as a creative, I think we have the ability to be like an empath. I really think that, not to be like super esoteric, but it's like, I do think that we can connect to the universe in ways that a lot of people don't know how to. And I think that if people were able to connect to the universe in a way that we can exchange thought on another level, I think that we could like, it's crazy. That's why coincidences aren't coincidences. The same thing when you think about somebody and then they hit you up, it's just like, if you could exchange positive power of thought or whatever it may be, like maybe something that your goals that you have, or just like in terms of just spreading positivity or anything that you want to exchange to another person, it's like we have the power to do that as humans, right? It's just that I think a lot of people have a hard time knowing how to connect to that, because I think that a lot of people, sadly and understandably, learn to be like bitter and jaded just because life is so hard. So it's hard to connect on that big level, because I think that people, again, it's like they stop having faith, which I do understand. So there's no judgment, but that's what happens to people. You know what I mean?
Totally. I can't even tell you.
Point. I like how you worded that too, like stopped having faith. Like now you just kind of got me into a place where I'm gonna think a lot after this, now that you said it that way, because like sometimes when you word it correctly, you're like, wow, now I understand. So no, it's true, because like, I mean, I can have that tendency 100% where it's like you get kind of like in this negative pattern, like your mindset. And so saying that, I don't know, it just kind of opened up my thoughts a little bit. But
no, same. I literally was just like, whoa.
No, I mean, like, speaking of songwriting, like one thing that I'm super curious to know is like, when I was younger, I was very into like poetry, and I'd like write and read. Like I'm more, when I put my thoughts on paper, it's more therapeutic for me than speaking or anything else. Yeah. So actually writing it out is better for me personally, but I know for other people it's other ways, right?
Right.
And so my claim to fame was like in the 8th grade, where like I forget what it was probably like about a guy or something, and it ended up getting like published in like a middle school book or like something, like in the city or something.
She's like, yes.
That was my claim to fame with writing. But it's funny because, you know, I've always wondered what it's like as a songwriter. Jenna, like when you write songs for different people, do you have that intention in your mind? Like, okay, I'm writing a song for this person, or it like fits into this album, or are you just writing whatever you want and whatever you feel, and then it kind of happens?
Yeah, I mean, I find it to be always different. I think that for me, it's more about if I'm there's different situations. You could be writing a song just to sort of write the song, where it's like you have to write it from personal experience. But again, given that we're all human and we all connect to certain similar things, then they end up relating to another artist. Because a lot of times if you write for an artist that you don't know, for instance, and you think, oh yeah, like maybe they're going through that, it's just like, it just feels less authentic. Whereas like you writing about something that feels super authentic to you, there's a chances are somebody's gonna relate to it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like so I think that makes a lot more sense, unless it's an artist that I'm obviously super close to. In that sense, then I actually know probably what they're going through, right? So, because for me, one of the things about the artists that I work with is I become very close to them. They're like family to me. So it's just like and again, back to my whole thing of like feeling and energies and stuff like that. Like I feel like I can feel people. Like I'll be like, what's wrong? And then somebody could be like, nothing. But like a day later,
but
you
like,
know, and they're like, how did you know something was wrong? You know, like when you can feel somebody like that, it's easy to tap into those feelings to write for them. And it's almost like, I don't know how to explain it. Like sometimes I feel like in a normal conversation or like just like normal life, I could never think of the ideas that sometimes feel like when I'm in that, when I'm fully connected, I feel like I get these ideas that I don't even feel like came from me. I know it sounds crazy.
I was just gonna ask you this. Wait, that's so weird. I was just going to ask you this question. Whoa, man. Okay. Because no, seriously, whoa. Because I listened to Andy Grammer's podcast. And Andy Grammer talked about this with Dean Lewis. He was like, where do you think I made Natasha listen to this episode. I was like, you have to. Where he asked Dean, he was like, where do you think your songwriting comes from? And they had this whole crazy thing. There was different people say different things. Like Andy Grammer thinks basically like when he goes into a room, he'll talk to like Elvis, and he's like, all right, Elvis, like help me write today, or he'll like things like that. And Dean Lewis had a whole like basically instead of having a math brain, like his songwriting brain is the math brain. So where do you like it obviously comes from a higher power is basically what they said. So where do you think it comes from for you?
Wow, that's so crazy. I didn't realize he even had a podcast, but that's nuts. This is what I always talk about, by the way. I mean, it's funny, like the songwriting world is very like, there's like a math side of it for sure, but there's also like a part that like is indescribable where you're just like, wow, I actually feel like I just said, like it's not even from you. It's something that like you could be in such a vibe and it's just like, you're like, how did I actually think of this? You're like, am I a genius? But it's not even that, because it's like, it's not about, it's weird. It's hard to explain, but it feels so magical when it happens because it literally feels like it was like given to you. And that's where I like to write from because it's euphoric, right? It just feels out of body. It feels like all your endorphins are like going crazy, you know? It's just, for me, the math side is like the way I like to explain it is like, for me personally, is, you know, I've been doing music my whole life. So I was like technically trained and did like all that kind of stuff. So I went to like a Toronto Royal Conservatory and did classical training and stuff. So I feel like the way I look at the math aspect and the technical aspect is sort of like riding a bike, where it's like you learn and learn and learn and then you throw it all away. You know what I mean? Because it's like, so for me, I never go in with the math sensibility. It just feels like it just is like intuitive at this point. Because and that's one of the reasons also I started to executive produce and mentor, because I feel like when I was just being a songwriter, I feel like going in from day to day, to just write songs for like different people or to pitch songs for people I didn't know, like the stuff that I was just explaining, it feels less connected to me and I didn't like it as much. And I don't like writing from just the math side, and people do it and they do have success doing it, but just for me, like it never was something that I feel I could, like I never felt it, if that makes sense. It was never something, it was just something that I felt like, no, you know what, this is not really where I feel like I thrive, or also I don't love it. So I feel like my thing is completely like, I always know when I have something good, because it's like, you know, it's the same way when like I always, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself a million times, but it's like, for me, it's like the same thing as when you meet somebody, a friend, or if you're going on a date and you're like, fuck yeah, this is it.
This is it.
but you feel a connection to somebody where you're like, no, like this is real. Because sometimes you just feel absolutely no connection.
Yes.
And that's what I mean, is that when that happens, it's nothing. It just feels like, okay, this was like wasted whatever. Like for me, when I feel like I know that it's good, even if somebody else says it's not good, I know it's good because it came from something good and somebody will connect to it at some point. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Not even like an arrogant thing to be like, hey, the song's so good. It's more than that, because it's like, you can't say it's arrogant when it's art.
No, and it's a feeling. I know. Well, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, because it's not something that happens every day. It's not something, but it's like when you know it and you feel it, that's it. Like you're like, okay, that's it.
Exactly. and it's like, and especially when it is that level of art and poetry and stuff like that, and it's from you, think about it. It's so weird to say, like, if you wrote down all your feelings and everything that like you completely feel, and something that just is basically just an extension of some, whatever, you're just giving somebody a piece of you, like your arm or something like that, and somebody say, oh, and if you were to be like, oh, this is really good, or do you know what I mean? If you're describing a part of you, and like, it's weird to say, oh, that's arrogant. So I just look at it like, no, I can tell that it's really good.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The arm thing was kind of weird.
That was definitely interesting.
Because I was like, how, it's not weird to say, because it's like, it's your emotions and feelings. If it's real, do you know what I mean? It's different than saying, hey, something that's like going up the charts or things like that. This is like just something in your gut that you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, you put your whole self in it. You're totally connected. So when you talk about those kind of moments, what is the most memorable moment, whether you had in mentorship or in songwriting, where you were like, you'll never forget, like when you wrote that one
Yeah.
lyric, or like you had that one moment, with someone else collaborating. What was that?
Okay, so you know what? It's so hard because I feel like I have them with all the artists that I get really connected to. All of them. I can remember times with every single artist. Like there is like this one time, I feel, well, a couple of times, because I wrote a lot with Banks, not on the last album she put out, but on The Altar. And we had a couple of freaking crazy spiritual moments. Just like beyond that, yeah, just out of body experiences. But again, like, I feel like I say her to, like, I guess, yeah, I mean, she's the first person that comes to my brain in terms of just like next level. But I feel like I strive to have that with every artist I feel like I can really be a part of in a real way. Because again, it's like, that's what inspires me to want to stay on the team. Because it's like, you start to love that, like you start to have as much passion for their project as you would for your own. So, and that's so important to me. So I think you need to feel those like extreme like passion and connectivity between like your mind and your body, like with an artist that you're going to spend that much time developing and being a part of their growth and all that kind of stuff.
What's the weirdest place you've written a song? I always used to ask this. So I worked in country music as well before this, and everyone in Nashville would always have like crazy in the bathtub, in a random hotel, in some weird city, like because they're just always songwriting. So I feel like with you probably have a really good story too.
By the way, I've written songs in all those places, just to say. But no, my one actually, it's funny that you asked me this. So when I first moved, like I basically moved out of my house in Calgary and moved to Vancouver when I was 19. I went to school for like freaking, how much did I go? Like 6 months, actually, for journalism broadcast. Funny enough.
Oh, see? This is why, guys. We connect.
And when you were talking about sports, it was funny, like before I moved, actually, I know I'm like sidetracking, but before I moved, they asked me to be a part-time sports broadcaster because I worked on radio since I was like 15 because there was nothing else to like, I mean, that was my only chance to like get into the entertainment world when I was in Calgary. And then I was like, oh, like this doesn't obviously feel like me. So then I moved to Vancouver. Isn't that funny?
That's so funny.
I was thinking about hearing when you were talking, and I was like, wow, that's so funny. But anyway, so when I moved to Vancouver, I had no money and all these kind of things. And I was just like, my parents obviously would have helped me, but it's, I wanted to be able to do it on my own. So I got a job as a waitress, and I moved to this like apartment that was like basically an hour outside of Vancouver, like the actual city. And so I would drive to and from every day to basically go to work and also like kind of like be around the studio because I moved to work with this producer. And anyway, there was one night where like I had literally no money. When I say like probably like $5 to my name, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, and I could have called I could have called my parents, but I think I was like also embarrassed. And at the time I didn't want them to say, you have to come home. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You're not you're this isn't working anymore. And that was actually probably my biggest fear. So I ended up just parking my car by the water. I slept there overnight, wrote a song in the back seat.
Wow.
And this is going to sound like a dinosaur, but I ended up posting it on MySpace. And that's how I got, like, that's how my career kind of started. That's how my management found me and all that. So I ended up getting my first record deal and stuff. So it's kind of crazy.
MySpace should still be around.
Can you tell us one of the lyrics from that song?
I know I'll catch, I know you'll catch me when I fall. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Heartstrings.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. I know I always say, like, I listen to a lot of singer-songwriter music, and I always say if you look at my like iTunes, you would think I'm probably like kind of depressed, but I'm not. I just appreciate a good singer-songwriter. So
Well, also, I mean, we come from dance background too. So Raquel was doing like a lot of contemporary dance, and like that is what you dance to. Like you just have to.
I think by now you guys know how much we love makeup, which is a lot, and we also love Formula Z Cosmetics. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing the lovely iridescent makeup bag that it comes in, and Natasha actually left her house this weekend and has a story about it.
Yeah, actually, this makeup bag is like, it's literally, I mean, not to be like promoting just this bag because I'm wearing the diamond gloss as usual in Prodigy. I'm wearing it right now if you're watching on YouTube. And the little makeup bag it comes with, it's like iridescent. It's kind of like got this like glowy, I don't know, it's like a really cool little zip up bag for like your lip glosses and your lipsticks, like your essential stuff. And these last 2 weekends I went out kayaking, as like weird as that sounds, but I take this bag with me because it's a waterproof like material. So it's super perfect. Like I take it on the kayak with me. I put like my little debit cards in here. I bring my Formula Z lip gloss with me and just all my little essentials, and it's perfect. I love it. So we love you, Formula Z.
We love you, Formula Z, and use our discount code Millennial Girls for 10% off the entire purchase and shipping worldwide. Definitely got to check them out, guys.
So in the back of your car with $10 for been there, done that, girl.
Really?
I mean, minus like the songwriting part of it, but like been there, done that with like the no, been there, done that with like the I had like 10 cents or like, oh my god, it was wild.
Really? 10 cents?
Yeah, until like I had gotten like another check after, and like because I didn't get paid on time, and then I was like paycheck to paycheck, and so I was literally like going to the dollar store to get eggs, and I was like, that's what I can get, or like I can make 10,000 things with eggs. So
Funny, I used to live on no, like it's crazy. I totally, and honestly, like that is not the first time I did that either. Like I did that so many times as a starving artist, you know, because it's like, I mean, you know, it's kind of, because, you know, once you pay rent and all the things that are like essential just to live, it's like the money that you have left to like commute or to, you know, eat or whatever it is. I mean, eating is essential, but let's just say like, I mean, have you ever been caught at like, the worst is when you're caught at like a restaurant that you go out with somebody and then the bill comes and you're like,
Yep.
fuck. And you're like, oh my God. I remember like seeing like, you know, I actually don't remember how much it was, but this one time in particular, I was freaking out because it ended up being more expensive than I thought. And I knew for a fact I only had like, I don't know, like under $50 in my account. And I was like, oh my God, I really hope they don't ask to split it because I'd be like, it's going to be declined.
The worst part is when you possibly swipe it and it doesn't get declined, but you get the overdraft email.
yeah, I was a queen of overdraft for a period. Yeah.
Same.
Declined, especially when we are in an industry with such smoke and mirrors because you're supposed to like pretend that you're not like, you know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah.
Fine, and you're like, nah. Meanwhile, you're freaking like dying. You're like, fuck. However, it's like, listen, actually, I should rephrase that because listen, the world is a very hard place. So I feel like, knock on wood, I feel very privileged. So, you know, but at the same time, you shouldn't feel bad for your own personal struggles. You know, even though other people have to struggle worse, I do think you can still, you know, it's still your life and still stuff you go through. But I have to admit during this whole period, it just makes you be like, wow, it's like, fuck, I'm lucky, you know, even though we had that 10 cents or that kind of thing. I mean, for me personally, I still, if I had to, I still have parents that like I could go home to, or if in absolute dire need, they would make sure that I was okay. It's like, not that I had no one, you know, and lots of people don't have anyone, which is, you know, really sad. And it's just a whole nother level, which makes me feel bad just saying the word dying, because that I was not dying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but going back to the story is like, yeah, I mean, again, it was more of a pride thing. And I just, you know, I ended up in like going, like, you know, speaking from authenticity too, it's just like writing a song. Oh, and that was another thing, actually. Like I wrote the song for my parents for Christmas because I also couldn't afford a present. So,
I mean, I think going back to the smoke and mirrors thing too, it's people again just see like the end result. They don't really see the struggle. But now I think, again, everyone's so much more open to, you know, we're getting these little glimpses of how things actually are. Like, people are struggling. And I know we had talked about a lot too, you know, because of everything going on, like tours aren't going to be happening for a long time, and shows, and how is that going to be sustainable for, you know, smaller artists who rely on playing gigs and touring, and especially, you know, in Nashville, that's how it is. So
I know. Exactly.
It's going to be really interesting to see. What do you think is going to happen, actually? Because I feel like we get so many messages, me and Natasha do, when we do Instagram lives about this specific topic, and we're just kind of like, well, we'll see what happens, I guess. Like, no one has an answer.
Well, two things. I actually wanted to say one thing on the smoke and mirrors thing before I answer the touring thing. But I have, you know, for Instagram, what's crazy about Instagram now is that you can go to some, and I know this for fact, it's like you can see people that have like 4 million followers, and guess what? They're dead ass broke.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, you go to their Instagram, oh, their life must be amazing, yada, yada, yada. And then, like, never mind, like, turn around and they can't even barely pay their rent. It's like, oh, they have all these, like, pretty pictures. And everybody's like, wow, their life is amazing. I wish I had their life. And it's just like, no.
So true. No. Yeah.
Happens behind the curtain. And I think that more of this needs to be out there, which is why, again, like the Green Room, I love doing that. Because I feel like as much as people are willing to expose, it's almost like humanity is more like, to me, interesting than finding out just somebody in some glossy page now for me, because I'm just like, oh, okay, like at this point anybody can look good or anybody can like pretend, but you know, what's your story? Like, that's what's so exciting to, like, you know, I want to know somebody's story. I want to know where they came from, just what you guys are doing or what we're doing today. Like, it's so fulfilling, you know, and it really feels good to, like, you know, learn about something. Even like, again, this time is so nice to like educate yourself on something you wouldn't have before, you know what I mean? And just learn more about a situation that, you know, and I think that stuff is so valuable. And especially with kids growing up and stuff, like, I hope that social media can turn into something more like that. I don't know. I mean, listen, entertainment is entertainment, and I'm not sure it's going to be, you know, but I do think people are starting to, like, there are people that are like that expose real shit on their Instagrams, which I think are amazing. I love that stuff. But anyway, that was a whole nother side piece, because it's just like so crazy to me that we're talking about this thing, and I just, you know, perception is just such a crazy thing. So, but in terms of touring, like, yeah, I mean, listen, right now they're not really starting to book tours until like summer of 2021, which is kind of crazy, if not later than that. But I personally think, and they've already started doing this, is like people will like charge for Zoom shows and stuff, and you'll get a link if you pay like $10 kind of thing. Like, I actually know people that are doing that already, which I think is really smart. Like, you can, you know, like, even if it's city by city, you could say, hey, you know, whatever, like New Jersey, let's just say, for example, because I'm in New Jersey. Like, if you were like, hey, whoever lives in New Jersey, it's going to be $5 or $10 if you click on this link, and only people that live in that zip code can actually have access to the show. Things like that, you know what I mean? And you can do, like, you know, I think a lot of times people can, you know, obviously play with their bands in rehearsal spaces if they're like social distancing and things like that. So I do think that people are going to find ways to play. I mean, it's going to be, I mean, there's no denying that we're going to have to sort of live in a new normal for the next year, right? I think. I mean, it just doesn't feel like, how is that? How are we not? I mean,
yeah.
I think people have gotten so creative. Like, I was saying earlier that Racquel and I are both dancers, but I shifted into partner dancing. So I do this thing called Brazilian Zouk. I don't know how big of a scene there is in Jersey, but I know in New York there's a huge scene there. So if you just look up,
just to be clear, guys, I only have been here for 3 months.
Okay, I was like, yeah, but but still, even in New York, like, there's a huge scene there, and people are getting creative. They're doing like the Zoom videos where, like, they're not dancing with each other. They don't see each other, but they're recording themselves against the wall, and it looks like they're doing the dance together. Yeah, it's amazing. Or like, even like, I know Jimmy Fallon, like with the Roots, he did like a segment where like all of them were like playing together at the same time. Like who knows how they did it? I'm sure they like they sent it to each other and produced, but still like it was really cool to have it like in sync. Or even Lady Gaga special, the one that they did with the World Health Organization. They did the same thing with like the Rolling Stones. Like I was like, they're a little off sync, but like, hey, I give it to them like for being on Zoom.
That's
and
what they
trying
did with Hamilton too. All the original cast came together, and I was like, whoa. Like it's I mean, my little cousin dances, and she's taking Zoom dance classes right now because everyone's had to adjust. So it's
Oh, by the way, speaking of Jimmy Fallon, the artist that I write with, this girl Benny, I wrote that song Supalonely.
I wanted to ask you about
the TikTok
that
song.
Yeah.
And she's going to be on Jimmy Fallon tonight. I mean, she's not going to be there in person, but we know the drill. So she's performing the song on Jimmy Fallon tonight.
So
okay,
fun.
so that song has blown up on TikTok. So
I actually did a TikTok to it.
You did?
I did. Like before quarantine. It was like one of the first ones. I mean, I honestly feel like it was not like that great, but I like danced in my room and I asked everybody like, do you want to join my pajama party?
No. Oh my God. What's your TikTok? I'm going to go to your TikTok.
It's Natasha Salehi. But yeah, it's like one of the first ones I did because I was like, I like the song. Let's do a little dance, whatever.
It's such a good song.
Was that before? Hold on. I'm literally looking it up right now. What is,
so
how do
funny.
How do you spell your last name again? Natasha.
Salehi. I forget what my profile picture is. It's probably my blue picture. But you have to go to like the bottom. It's at the bottom. I'm like kind of like in like a t-shirt and like PJs with like I'm wearing the cat socks for Kel.
Yes, the cat socks are
I'm
so
like
good.
in my room. I'm in my room. The lighting's kind of shitty, but like I danced.
Wait, is it?
We're literally
that one. That's the one.
Oh my God.
That's so funny.
I love that.
TikTok life. This is it.
That's like when we had first gotten TikTok too. Like I didn't know much. I was like, me and Racquel were first like starting to learn. We even learned like what to do Lipa's choreography or something. Like
really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like honestly, thank God we danced growing up because we would not be good on TikTok. Like I thank my parents every day. I'm like, thank you for pushing me. I'm sure you would love to know it's paid off because of TikTok. Like
I love that.
TikTok, that's so funny.
Great.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So tell us about Supalonely.
Yeah, I really am so curious to know about it, like blowing up on TikTok.
Well, I mean, the blowing up on TikTok was really just, again, it really was a true accident. She doesn't even have a TikTok account. So
what?
Yeah, but TikTok loves her. I mean, there was another song that she has called Glitter that did pretty good. Do you know about it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
like, Racquel needs to do a video to that.
Yeah, that's why I'm like glitter everywhere.
Glitter.
So that song did really well I think it did pretty well on TikTok. But then Supalonely, so it's weird because it started like doing something on TikTok before quarantine started. It was probably like I want to say maybe 3 weeks before, and we were like, oh my God, like something's happening with this song because it was Glitter, and then it just kind of transitioned to Supalonely. And that song came out like in November of last year, so like you know.
Oh wow.
It had already been out and all this stuff, and like, so it kind of came out of nowhere for us. We were like, whoa, this is crazy, and then it just started like going crazy, like, and the TikTok videos were crazy. I think it's at like 12 million TikTok videos now. It's fucking nuts.
It's insane. Well, I mean, I learned the choreo from Charlie. That's where I learned it from, and then I just kind of did my own version of it because I was like, yeah, no, I'm not looking the same right now. I'm a little rusty, so I'm gonna do my own version. But no, I was curious to know the backstory behind the song, just in general, and like because I was kind of like re-saying the lyrics to myself, and it's not like super positive sounding. Like
exactly. Yeah, so we wrote it about, she had just broken up with her boyfriend right before she did this LA trip, and so obviously she came all the way from New Zealand, and it was, you know, it's like, obviously it couldn't be farther from LA. So, and I live in LA, but usually I live in LA most of the time, by the way, guys. That's mostly,
okay.
I'm like, that's why it's so funny that I'm Jersey now, but normally I live like 70% in LA and 30% in New York, but now I've been staying in New Jersey just because like it's been honestly the safest, just where we're staying in terms of like suburbs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, so we wrote in LA, and honestly, she came in just like bummed out about breaking up with her boyfriend, but wanting to write something to like lift her spirits, kind of thing. And you know, that was the first time that we actually had met in person, which is crazy because we. No, sorry, I take that back. It's actually not the first time we met in person. We met before a couple times, but it was like very brief. But we've been like talking a lot over Skype. So we like had already like been friends and like been connecting over like, which is kind of like the new normal. I feel like I have so many friends that I literally have not met in person, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're so close.
I say that all the time. All the time.
Racquel has like 10 best friends online.
That I've never met.
Like, I'm talking to you guys. I'm like, shit, I feel like I know you guys.
Oh no, literally. I'm like, let's be friends.
Yeah, I'm like, we're friends. No, but so yeah, we'd already been connecting, but so, and honestly, it was just very much like I could again, it was one of those things where I like instantly like could relate to her, and I feel like we just connected, like, and that's why I use that as an example, is I was like, I totally get you, and like I just freaking love her so much, and like she is just such an amazing human, and her name happens to be Stella, which is so funny because Len and Stella.
That's so funny.
Right.
Like two of my favorite freaking artists and humans that I work with are both Stellas, so there's something to be said about that. Let's just get into the whole numerology thing.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
Even too, just I believe in all that shit. So but anyway, so and we honestly like we probably wrote the song in like 40 minutes, like very quick. It was like one of those songs that we just like wrote.
Wow.
And that was in August. It came out in like November, and then it did what it started to do, obviously around February. And then I think, you know, it became the quarantine song just because of the title. But it's so funny because it started kind of blowing up right before quarantine, so it's kind of interesting.
The part that gets to me is like, again, kind of stripping it down and just looking at the words. Like in the song, it's saying, I'm a loser, and then you're like, I'm just a quitter. So it's like, shit, like, I mean, you would never think like two and two. I mean, you would never put two and two together. I'm like dancing to it at my house, but it's like, wait, if you really like strip down the lyrics, I mean, it's kind of depressing. So it's like, I mean, those are strong words.
Have you heard the like the broken down version that she put out called Lonely?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's it's amazing. You should
Really?
But yeah, it's like she retitled it like Lonely, LOWNLEY. I think that's how she spelled it. But it's so beautiful. It's like a sad version of it basically. So, but you know, I mean, music's so interesting, like in that sense, like, you know, that's that classic thing where you never like really want to write a sad song to like sad chords. You want to be like, you always like juxtapose kind of thing where it's like a really happy song with really happy lyrics is like too much. You're like, no, it feels too happy. No one wants.
Yeah.
Because I'm.
Yeah, right. Well, but then it's like there's always like, but that song isn't like cheesy happy produced. It's like there has to be some kind of like element that gives it like underbelly. You know what I mean? Like you don't want
some bite.
Super light song with a really light lyric. It just won't feel good, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
And she's so like, you know, Stella Benny, she's very like, she's such a sarcastic kind of person. Like she has like this like amazing sense of humor, which is also like why I think she's so great. Because I think lyrically, that's even when she's sad, it's like the way that she conveys that lyric is almost like, it's almost like so refreshing because you're like, she's not taking herself too seriously, although she's feeling all those ways. Like she's saying it in a way that people are like, yeah, I feel like if you listen to that song, you're like, I've totally been there. I know I fucked up. I'm just a loser. How many times have you said that to yourself? Do you know what I mean? Right. But people have too much pride. Yeah. That. Like, that's the thing that I'm saying about Smoke and Mirrors. It's like, you can't just be like, I suck. People are like, no, like, you have to like put on this show. Sometimes it's cool just to be like, you know what? Yeah, I suck today.
And I feel in the EDM world, I feel like it's really good when it comes to songwriting because it's like, again, EDM is like so happy, it's dance music. But then sometimes when you listen to the lyrics, the complete opposite, right? And I want
Literally,
Racquel. I
yeah.
want Racquel to ask because one of her favorite artists, I think you worked with, right, Racquel?
I love Diplo.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
I am obsessed with Diplo. I've just been listening to his music. Like when I first got into EDM in college, I like got into it from Diplo. And so then working for an EDM station, and we know MK very well, and he's really good friends with Diplo, and everyone just has a lot of great things to say about him and his artistry. So I like love his music so much. And I love too, we saw him at when did we see him? During Super Bowl weekend. And he has so many different sets he can do, and he does like the Thomas Wesley thing. And I just listened to that whole record, and I was like, okay, like I love this because I love country music too. So it's just, I love how versatile he is because I feel like not many people are okay with doing that kind of thing, like being from one end of the spectrum to the other and knowing it's him. Like a lot of DJs, you won't know it's whoever it is doing this, and it's a completely different sound because they remain anonymous. So I think with him being so confident too is one reason why I love his music as well.
I mean, it's funny because I actually, like, I know him and he's such a great guy. I've written with him only one time with this song that has never come out, but it's so good. Like, it's actually, remember the band Perry?
I love them, yeah.
I know, they're amazing. I mean, I'm actually really good friends with Kimberly, and I mean, her voice is incredible, but it was actually with Diplo and with the band Perry, and this song, oh my God, it has to come out at some point because it's such a good song.
I was going to say, that's such a good collab too.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then actually I vocal produced another song that just came out on his new project, the Country Project, with Noah Cyrus, on the song Online. I don't know if you've heard it.
I love that. I literally, kid you not, I went running yesterday and I put on that whole record, and I stopped running when the Noah Cyrus song came on, and I was like, oh, like it's so amazing. It's so good.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, it was really, really fun to record, and just like all the harmonies and stuff like that. I mean, she sounds unreal on it. I mean, it's just, so good.
It's so funny, just like the whole roundabout. And I love too, like I want Natasha, I'm like, Natasha, we have to go to Nashville. I'm bringing you to Nashville because I basically lived there for like 4 years. So yeah.
And also like quarantine's lifted there, so.
I know, right? Let's go.
It's kind of weird because it's like, aren't you guys a little scared about quarantine being lifted there? Because it's like, isn't there going to be another freaking?
Oh, I'm so scared.
Right?
So scared.
Like saying, like the next outbreak is going to be worse. I mean, okay, I'm not going to be I'm not
negative Nancy.
I know. I'm like, shit. But it does scare me. Like, it is. I mean, it does.
No, yeah. I have asthma, so I can't like fuck with that. Like, I'm like, I gotta be home and chilling because I cannot get it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So like we were still going to the station when it kind of started happening.
Yeah.
And then we were like, this isn't like the safest situation. And then obviously everything happened, and now we're not with them anymore. But it's just definitely really scary because everything leading up to what we thought Music Week was going to be, I was like, it's the flu. It's fine. It's going to be fine. And then once everything started happening, I was like, it's a lot more serious than we thought, people. Like, my best friend actually lives in Nashville, and she came back to Florida because she's like, I don't really want to be here right now with it lifted because that makes me nervous. Yeah. Yeah, because it's scary that people are just being, I see people out there. A lot of my friends live in Nashville. They're out without masks. They're like chilling like it's a normal Saturday, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, it's definitely become normalized already in Miami because I let's say I frequent a lot of venues that are hot spots, and it's already been, people are trying to do like the private parties and all sorts of stuff. And I know in Vegas yesterday, I was just reading, I posted an article that, I mean, it's the Flamingo Hotel. I know it's not like Encore Beach Club, but they're already opening up their pool. They're already opening their pool for like pool party, but it's like mask is still required. So I was like making jokes yesterday that like, just come with your snorkel on, like might as well to the pool party.
No, and I'm like, put me in a bubble. Put me in a bubble. I'm not doing that. No thanks.
Let's see what happens. I mean, if they're already opening that up, I'm really not surprised. Like by July time, I feel like everything's gonna be back to normal. But let's see.
That scares me so much.
You're saying by July time?
I think places are gonna open. Like I know in Orlando, they already made it. Clubs and bars can open.
Yeah.
In Orlando.
Phase 2 up north. Yeah.
But what if there's another outbreak? People will just have to get sent back home.
I would assume so. Yeah, they're gonna quarantine us again. I mean, it's not something to laugh about, but it's like, oh my God, here we go. Like, I mean, because we've been with the protests, like they've been putting in curfews like every other day.
Yeah.
It's like 30 minutes before 10 o'clock. They're like, you need to go home. And it's like, what if I'm like across town? Like, what if I, like, so. It's,
no, but it's like sometimes when you laugh not because you think it's funny, but just because it's so crazy.
Yeah. Like, that it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Part of the knee-jerk reaction. You know what I mean? It's like you can't even.
We had all these crazy plans for 2020 and they've just gone down the tubes. So
although I will say, I mean, I feel like it's kind of interesting, like I said, like I feel personally like blessed in this 2020, even though it has been obviously so hard, but like in terms of like just music and all the stuff that's been coming out, I'm like, wow, it's like in that sense it's really been the light at the end of the tunnel for me.
I mean, Len and Stella's project is so good. The whole record's amazing. I love it. I saw her actually open up. I went to the Chainsmokers concert with 5 Seconds of Summer, and she opened up here. And I've known obviously about her for forever because of being in Nashville, and I was blown away by her. It was really great.
She's amazing, right?
She's amazing live because I hadn't seen her. I think I saw her like 4 or 5 years ago when it was like for CMA Fest. They were doing something because of Nashville. And I hadn't seen her live in that many years past. And I was standing there and I was like, wow, she's killing it. So
she's the real deal. I mean, she's unbelievable. And her pitch is just like unhuman. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
You're both such just like complete aliens. I just love them so much. I mean, they're just like, not only are they so talented, but they're just like unbelievable people. Human beings. They're just amazing.
Well, like Racquel said, your vibe attracts your tribe, and so far your tribe is growing, and it sounds like a great one. So
I'm like, are we in it officially yet?
Are we in the tribe?
You guys are in the tribe now, no? I mean, you have to be.
Yes,
the Millennial girls are part of the tribe.
Yes.
So cute. I freaking love it.
Yeah. No. Oh my gosh. I'm so obsessed. Do you know who else? Do you know who Annabelle England is?
No.
Okay, because you guys would vibe so hardcore. So she's an artist and she sings on a ton of EDM tracks. Like that's her whole thing. But I did an interview with her, a Skype interview with her, and that was one of the best interviews I've ever done, even though it was via Zoom, because we were kind of like on the same wavelength with like manifesting and all of that stuff. You guys would write like the craziest songs together. So you definitely.
Let me look her up. What is it?
It's Annabelle England. So it's Annabelle ANABELENGLUND.
Oh my God, Racquel, if you start like this collaboration between them, that'd be great.
Wait, is it Anna like ANA like?
Yes.
Oh, England. I see it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
she's an LA girl. She's an LA girl, yeah.
Oh, she looks so cool.
Oh, literally, I love her. When I sent the interview to Natasha to edit, I was like, girl, you were going to be like, it's a good one.
We should the 4 of us are going to sit and do numerology charts for like 2 days.
Literally.
Girl, I'm about to follow her.
That's yes. So oh my God, you have to let me know what happens. Guys, you heard it here first. An awesome collaboration.
It's all Racquel.
Oh my God, see, this is what this is for. I'm telling you, it's not even it's like, this is how it happens. This is how it's supposed to happen.
Exactly. No, it's so funny. Everyone always is like, you should be like A&R Racquel because you just like, you know what works. I'm like, okay.
It's really true. I mean, see, speaking of, signs and like what's meant to be and like literally what Jenna said earlier, I feel like that's with you with connecting people. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just put it out there.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm just like I always say, I'm just a happy little unicorn, and I love talking to people, and
Why are you?
I love like connecting people to one another. So
Wait, did you guys question? This is like a super, since you guys are the millennial girls, how have you guys been keeping up with your like hair and I'm looking at both of your nails. Are they like, I mean, tell me.
oh, my nails. Okay, wait. Well, my nails were tragic. So this is a really funny story. So I got my nails done like 2 weeks before Ultra. Okay.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm doing lime green, lime yellow. Like Natasha's gonna do hot pink. Like we were planning everything to our nail color. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got the dip, and I made her do 4 coats of the dip. If you guys know what I'm talking about, if you're listening, you know how thick the dip powder gets
Yes.
when you get your nails done. So obviously quarantine happens and you can't go to the nail salon. My nails were so grown out. I was calling Natasha. I'm like, how do I get this stuff off of my nail? And this was my real nails. I let them grow super long. I had to soak my nails in straight acetone for 2 days.
What?
2 days. And I was like on FaceTime with Natasha, almost in tears because nothing was happening. I didn't have a drill. Like it destroyed my nails. I have always had like decent nails. They're so destroyed right now. Like I have tips on. We were finally able to get our nails done, but it was like
you could get your nails done now?
it was so hardcore though. Like mask on, they shoot you with the thermometer the second you walk in. Like it was crazy. There was like only 3 people in the salon. Natasha, you actually go to someone.
Yeah, no, I have. She's my girl. Like I've been going to her for years, so she'll like come to the house or like I go to her kind of thing. So it's been easier for me to get mine done. But
I literally
all my people in LA, and so that's like what.
Yeah, that's the worst.
And then New York is obviously like a lot, like probably the worst out of anywhere.
Even exactly.
It's just like, oh my god, it just. So my nails are literally still tragic. So
I got, you know what you need to get? I ordered from Kiss's website. It's like Kiss Nails. And
the stick-ons?
I did the glue ones, but they lasted for like 2 weeks. They were pretty good. So.
No, I have them. I just like, because I play guitar too. It's just like,
yeah.
It's just like, I'm like, I need like.
Her nail turns into a pick. It's like, bing, it flies off.
I'm just like, so I can't really wear those, but I have to like, I'm just like, okay. And then what about your hair? Like,
oh, well, my cousin's a hairdresser, so I kind of have the
so jealous.
upper hand on that. Yeah.
I literally like, I mean, my extensions have actually lasted pretty good, but I'm just like, I am now at the point where I'm like, okay, I know this is superficial, but I'm also like, you are.
No, I'm so happy. I am so happy. I took my tape-ins out actually in like January. I had them for a year because I couldn't like, I never had time to go to the salon. So like when I worked for the hockey team, it was fine because it was like easy. I had the full glam every day. But the second I started working for the station, it was like no time for anything anymore. So I just have the clip-ins and like that's it.
Oh my God. I just like all my stuff. Like I usually get like lash extension. I mean, the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Those all came out too. These are just glue ones.
Oh, me too. But mine are like super like mine are like very like natural ones because I'm just like, ugh. I mean, it just depends. Like actually, it's so funny. I had my photographer come here and do like a mask shoot during quarantine.
Yeah.
Actually, pictures on my Instagram. It's like my avatar, but we got some fire pics. So I had like some really thick lashes for those because it was just like the mask. I got some bomb masks, like this really cool brand called Busted Brand has the coolest fucking mask.
You have them on your Instagram? I want to see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. Like it's like my main, it's like my main picture. But like you can see, like, do you see like the?
Wait, now I have to go look. I'm looking.
I know. I'm like I can't because I'm using my phone. But
oh, this one.
I'll look after.
This one.
Oh yeah, that's dope. Does it have a zipper?
Yes.
Huh?
Is it a zipper? I can't tell.
No, it's like a chain.
Oh.
But it's leather.
Dope.
Like it's so cool. I have a bunch of them. They're fire. You guys would love that. I love how it's like mask fashion now.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we were on a website. We we were looking at different masks, and I was just like, oh wow, like now I have to coordinate one more thing with my outfits. Like this is.
Oh, you do? Oh, girl, I'm like already on that shit. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I have so many masks that are like, because I'm like, no, I'm not gonna just wear a normal mask. Hello, I love fashion too much.
Well, and I had an alert. Of course I did. I had an allergic reaction to like a surgical mask, so that was good.
Boy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm allergic to everything. I'm just one of those people. And my dad's a pharmacist. He has his own pharmacy, and so he had gotten like obviously a bunch of masks, brought them home. And I was like at work trying to talk and just like super itchy, and I was like, I don't like, this isn't normal. So I couldn't use that mask. I had to use a different brand. But then I got like a cute tie-dye like cloth one, and I was like, okay, fabric softener. Like, we're good now. We're okay.
Fabric
Like,
softener.
Tie-dye, that's a good choice. I like that.
yeah, it's crazy. It's just so insane. I was every time I go to Miami, I tell Natasha I feel like I'm in Japan walking around with the masks and stuff.
Oh yeah, she looks like an anime, like with the pink hair and everything. She literally looks like an anime character. Like, it's hilarious.
Really?
Yes, with the mask on too, and like the lashes. It's like anime.
I'm like, hi, be my friend.
I literally, I'd be your friend. I'm like, yes.
You are.
Kind of anime today with my 2 buns too.
Love it.
But it's so weird. Like when you're just like down, like it's so. I keep on thinking like when you're driving along the street or walking and seeing everyone in masks, you're like, can you imagine like December of last year thinking you'd be like seeing, if you were like wake up from December to June and you just saw that, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yep.
We always talk about, or the episode before this, we talked about, we had like the coolest New Year's experience. So like from going from New Year's to now, we're just like, how did this unfold and get to this?
I always think about that. I'm like, wow, that's so weird. If you like were like in a coma and you woke up to this, you'd be like, bro.
Oh my god.
Like, what happened?
Literally what happened. Like you're just out looking out your window and people are like taking a jog with their mask. I'm like, wow, so weird.
Well, you know what's so crazy is now that Natasha, the yoga studio we go to, I think they're making people wear masks to do hot yoga. I would.
That's awful.
100% suffocate.
I would suffocate. Like
100%.
If you don't, then you would probably get, like, yoga is crazy, or like gyms. I'm just like, I would never go. I mean, dude, the disease is still out there. Like, we can't. Not anything has changed. The only thing that has changed is the fact that we are like more aware, so we can obviously like wear masks and have hand sanitizer, but we shouldn't just be out there. We have to be conscious of. I mean, I don't want to get like, you know, it's like you still.
I don't want to get it.
You know what I mean?
I also like want to be able to, you know, I don't know. I always keep thinking about it too, because I'm talking about it with my friends who live in different cities, and a lot of them are in broadcast, like for sports and entertainment and stuff like this. And we're all just like, what is our new normal going to be? Are we going to have to wear masks to be? I mean, news reporters already are wearing masks on TV. So it's just like, what is going to be? Are we going to have to wear masks in interviews and live interviews, if we can even do them? Or like,
because you have to have the microphone under the mask. By the way, it says it's still. Are we going to cut out again?
damn, we could like talk for 100 hours.
But I love you guys.
We love you
like
too.
Now we gotta go.
Jenna, thank you so much for being on this episode. It was so great. We need to just like talk to you once a week or something. I don't even know. We'll figure it out, because it's so awesome talking to you. Your vibe attracts your tribe. We're all in the tribe now. It's so great. We say peace, love, unicorns here. So if you want to.
Peace, love, into court. What is it?
Peace, love, unicorns.
Oh, peace, love, unicorns.
Yes. Yes. Love you guys.
We love you. It was great meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.